Everyone. So honored and pleased to call our meeting. So I believe we can start with the roll call, please, Ms. Duncan.
Sure. Chairperson Villa-Gomez.
Present.
Vice Chair Penn has requested an excused absence. Ms. Stark also requested an excused absence. Mr. Dara? Hopefully he'll join us shortly. Mr. Fulton?
Here.
Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Scales? Ms. Williams? And Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Thank you, everyone. Again, it's really wonderful to see everybody. We can put off the approval of the minutes until we have a quorum. Hopefully we will. Hopefully Mr. Bobby will get in soon. But I will just go ahead and give a few updates that I have. So number one, I want to just let you know that all of the students, the 33 in my urban history class, and then the 7 that I have as interns, they're making great progress and really learning the early history, like the first half of the 20th century, the 1900s. They're really learning that material well, and they're writing midterm essays. And I've tried to be strategic so that their midterm essays will be a kind of foundation for the storyboards for our virtual history. So I'm excited about that. Also, Ms. Linda actually came in, Ms. Dart came in on Monday, and she focused on both sort of her experience of growing up and even being part of the early civil rights activities. For instance, some of you might have participated or even know about the protests at the KNWs because of their segregation. So she spoke about that and about Black businesses, even within her own family, the 2 great theaters downtown. And so it was wonderful. Most of the students came and they were sleepy. Everybody was studying very hard for midterms, but they really listened. So we recorded everything that she said, and I'm going to have the students come back and use parts of her presentation, her stories as actual evidence, and I'll have them write about that because, again, we can come back and use that for our project. So I feel like the students are enthused and they're really making great progress. And after we come back from spring break, then we'll be moving into the more recent events from, the 1950s on forward. But also, Miss Beverly plans to come in soon. So she and I have made arrangements, and she's going to be talking about our Black high schools. And so we'll likely record that. And so I just want to encourage any and all of you, please, to even if you don't want to speak, come visit the class. And if you do want to speak, or if you have particular topics that you want me to have the students write about. So if you give me a research topic and say they really need to write about this, then we can go out and really work on that, especially if it's something aligned to your subcommittee theme. So I really hope you all will come because you're so knowledgeable and your stories are our history. I also just briefly want to let you know that I was invited a little earlier this week, so this didn't make it into our agenda, but the course and my work on behalf of our committee is now going to be part of the National Council on Public History's working group entitled Records, repair, and reckoning. So last year I joined this, this council, and of course we've looked over some of their best practices and their suggestions for doing public history, but this will help us to get more visibility. There are a number of African Americans across the country who are going to be part of this working group. And so I didn't even have a chance to talk to Mr. Flynn about this, but one of the questions we'll be discussing on Friday for our first meeting is, how do archivists and historians work together to create reparative descriptions for essential questions? And so I think this is just very exciting because we are getting recognition within the state, and then this will help us to get recognition from a national perspective. And then the last thing that I want to share is that Ms. Wanda and I think we team tagged beautifully. We were invited to go over to Wake Forest Law School last Thursday and participate in a panel discussion with law school professors on the Weaver Fire and what that Weaver Fire really tells us about environmental issues, really injustice and justice. And so I was asked to give kind of a history of the region and really the environmental issues that have challenged particularly African Americans in our city. And I want to really commend Ms. Wanda because I think out of everyone on the panel, she really brought to the forefront the legal issues. So she really taught everybody. She taught all of those great, famous Wake Forest professors the real deal, so to speak, what's really happening at the city level, and then what, how it relates to fair housing laws and what the laws are now. So I was just so honored to watch her be a teacher to everyone there. I mean, I think she should be on faculty there and she'll speak more. But a few things that I've learned from some of you that I brought to their attention is, for instance, our early sit-ins with Carl Matthews. Councilperson Scipio had spoken to me about that. The students will be actually reading the dissertation of Jess Usher in a few weeks, who goes into great detail about what happened with everything that Carl Matthews did for our sit-ins. I brought to their attention that the actual early law in 1912 that was passed to formally institutionalize segregated neighborhoods was done by somebody who was in city government, who was a graduate of Wake Forest Law School. And so, you know, they have somewhat of a negative legacy, but also a positive one. And I brought to their attention that there were many faculty and students and even administrators at Wake Forest who joined Carl Matthews. And Carl Matthews had even said, "Why are you doing this? You have everything to lose, but I know why I'm doing it." So it ended, the panel discussion really ended with this, this humble request from the law school faculty there to how do they partner with us so that we begin to really make substantial changes once and for all, since we have over 100 years of going forward and then going way backwards. And so I was touched. And of course, some of you have really helped me to walk in love. And I tried to walk in love that day and, you know, be responsive to the fact that they care and they want to learn from us and partner with us to make real change. So, so that is my report. Thank you. So I believe, Ms. Wanda, we can move on to your reports.
And thank you, Chair Villa-Gomez, and thank you too for the extraordinarily generous and gracious, kind comments that you made. Really being a part of a panel discussion of that magnitude was definitely my honor and privilege, and to be with esteemed professors such as yourself, it was like, whoa, so I was just happy to be there. And so thank you again for even pointing them my way so that they even extended the invitation. I appreciate that. And I would also be remiss if I did not thank Ms. Joycelyn Johnson for reaching out. She reached out the day before, the day of, and she sent information that was really valuable to us to make sure we mentioned with respect to how that area that we're talking about that's near the plant, how it used to be, let me get this right, Ms. Joycelyn, it used to be majority white. And especially over there, University, Cherry, that area, just generally speaking. And then in the 1970s, there was white flight. And that kind of is what added to the whole black and brown influx of residents here in the community into that specific area. And not having grown up here in Winston-Salem, I mean, I think a lot of y'all know I'm from Fayetteville. And so I've only lived here in Winston-Salem for 21 years. And so I did not have that base. I didn't know that about the area, that the way it was back in the 70s. And so I appreciated greatly Ms. Joycelyn for reaching out and providing that information, because I did mention it, because I think it was very relevant to helping everyone understand the full context of what we were looking at, and just a little bit of the history of that area in general. So thank you for that, Ms. Joycelyn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And yes, so anyway, it was a great panel discussion. It is available. They did record it. And so I think Chair Villa-Gomez and I have the link. I believe the law school sent us the link to that. So if anyone is interested in listening and watching that discussion, we can certainly make the link available to you. I wanted to mention a couple of things. One thing is, guess what this is? This is a fully executed contract between the city of Winston-Salem and Winston-Salem State University. And so yes, we got it done, absolutely. And so we now have that formal agreement and understanding between the city of Winston-Salem by way of AAHI and Winston-Salem State University for our partnership so that we can move forward with Digital North Carolina. So I would really like to thank Chair Villa-Gomez, Mr. Tom Flynn, who's on the call today, and also our Assistant City Attorney, Keisha Red, who is covering their office across the hall today because she's the only one in there right this minute, so she's not on the call, but she did send a message to let you all know that. But I'd like to just thank them for really helping out to get this done. And also Ms. Carlin Duncan for running back and forth and chasing and tracking things down and making sure people signed who needed to sign and all of that. So I really appreciate everyone. It was a true team effort. And so it is done. So that was some great news I wanted to share. I also had another piece of great news to share. It is my absolute honor and privilege to share with you, and I think I already did this via email, but I wanted to do it on this platform, that the National League of Cities has awarded the African American Heritage Initiative their 2022 Cultural Diversity Award. So the AAHI has received that award from the National League of Cities. Yes, it is a national award. So this is a very big deal. And so I would like to thank Councilmember Scipio for her vision for this whole concept for AAHI, and for also being gracious enough to go to Washington, D.C. to accept this award on behalf of the city of Winston-Salem and AAHI.
Wait, Wanda, I got a question.
Yes.
The last I saw that we were one of 2 finalists.
Yeah, well, we will still get, my understanding is, I know I'm not saying that they've announced anything because they haven't with that, But what my understanding is, we will still get an award,
Right.
even whether it's as a finalist or the.
We're gonna be
have,
either number one or number two.
Yes,
is my understanding.
that is my understanding as well.
Okay, I thought you were telling me we were number
let me
one.
clarify. No. Look, I'm claiming it though, right? Let me clarify. They have not announced that part, that level yet. But we have certainly been notified that we're a finalist. And so we are really excited to even be at this level. That is a big deal because it is out of all of the other cities that were up for this across the United States. And so this is massive. And so I think it's a huge testament to what it is that you all have been doing over the years to fortify the work of AAHI. And again, particularly to Councilmember Scipio, I just don't even know what to say. There are no words that are sufficient. So I hope that you are happy in knowing that we are even at this level and we are going to claim that we're going to win it. I'm claiming it.
I'm claiming it too, but Wanda, I just want to thank you and your staff for taking the initiative to apply. Because you can't get selected if you don't apply. Right. And when I saw it come across, I said, I'm not sure if we should at this point, but I'm happy you did. And of course, no matter if we're first or second, but I do believe we will be first. This great big grin, y'all gonna feel it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's amazing. And it's sort of like, something's right when other people ask you, how did you do it?
Right.
How is it coming? So our task and how it's taken a while to put everything together, but with the contract with Winston-Salem State, wow. With Dr. Villa Gomez connecting us to the history department, doing that, the only thing we have left is really motivating and igniting the community to send in their pictures, to fill up that database and to tell our stories. Jocelyn and I and Annette and Bobby, we know what it was like living here. And Mr. Fulton also, we know the history, we lived it. But to motivate everybody to share it is it's awesome because our history, we're oral tradition. And the thing is though, when we go, our memories go. That's why we've got to collect them. But thank you, Wanda. It's just, it's exciting. Jocelyn's been to the National League of Cities. It's a big deal at the National Leagues of Cities. And I was, last time we had our city conference in San Antonio, I was really privileged to receive the award that our IS department won. It's gotten an award every year for about the last 10 years for its progressiveness in technology. And people just don't know what real resources we have in our little city and how extraordinary they are. So this would be just amazing. It's just amazing anyway when I saw the first announcement. But thank you again, Wanda. You have my heart. You and your team for actually putting that together. I think it sets the tone for everything.
That effort originated with the National Black Caucus of Local Elected Officials, probably 20 years or more ago. And then it got morphed into all the other constituency groups participating. Yeah. But our IS department, I oftentimes go and receive the award. So it's been probably in that nature of 20 years that IS has, and Dennis Newman was IS director at the time, received that award. We also years ago applied for the Black Theater Festival and it was not picked up. It actually brought the caucus to Winston-Salem for their national conference. So we've been knocking on the door and we're there.
Absolutely. And I have to say this too. It had to have been when you were on council, Ms. Joycelyn, that we were a finalist for our Beyond Soul and Salsa program, which was a program that united the African American community with the Hispanic community. And so we were a finalist with that some years ago. And more recently, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, we actually won the final, top national award for our BIC, or Building Integrated Communities program, which works with, immigrants, refugees, and asylees. And so it is an awesome feeling when you get to that final level and you actually win that. And like I said, that was a few years ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. So we're hoping that this will happen again with AAHI. We're really hopeful, and we do have our fingers crossed. And I do have to thank Jamie Waldeck and Brittany Pitts for taking it on, because when we saw it, I kind of tossed to them and I said, hey, y'all, we got to pull something together. We got to get this submitted. We know what it looks like and feels like to submit. We know what they're looking for. Let's try to pitch this. And so I really do have to thank them for jumping on that immediately so that we could get that information submitted to the NLC.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And so those were the comments that I had for today. And I know that we have Jackie on the call from AAHI. From IS. Jackie, is there anything that you wanted to share from IS?
I don't have a whole lot of updates. I'm really, really, really excited that we have this opportunity that y'all were just talking about to win this award. So I'm in the boat with everybody else and hoping that we win it. But as far as IS goes and the work that we've been doing, we had ordered the equipment required for the $10,000 grant that we received, and we're still waiting on some of that equipment. We knew going in that would be a long drawn out waiting period. So we're just waiting out that waiting period until those equipment items come in.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that update.
Thank you.
So do we think we'll be ready with equipment and volunteers and staffing to do the Juneteenth piece and actually have a live active booth there inside the Biotech Center?
Jackie, do you think the equipment might come in time for Juneteenth?
Well, that's hard to say. The equipment that we do have is like scanners and those kind of things. And you've seen the list, one of the things that we've received. I think it was the laptops and stuff that we're waiting on. So there might be a possibility if we don't get those laptops, we could look at maybe borrowing some from somewhere. So it's possible. We just need to touch base on that and see what all we need and decide if that's possible or not. Maybe we can do that after this call, Wanda.
Thanks, Tom, because Tom I'm not going to talk for him because he put something in the chat. So look in the chat at Tom's comment, but I think we need to start preparing now for that because it's 3 months away.
And Tom, did you want to make a comment? You have the floor.
So I was just saying, I mean, we've got equipment and people, and I mean, we're here to help. So just let us know, and we're happy to sit in the booth, help, provide whatever you guys need in the meantime. So just let us know.
Well, thank you, Tom. We may have to take you up on that offer. Hopefully not. Hopefully, things will come through. But with the whole supply chain thing, we just don't know. So it's good to know that WSSU is there as a resource as always. So thank you. And so Chair Villa-Gomez, that concludes my updates and the city staff updates.
Thank you. Well, we have Mr. Charlie Gardner with us. So Charlie, I know you have some updates for us, and thanks again for joining us today.
Of course, yeah. I'm happy to join. It's exciting to hear about the award and the agreement with the Winston-Salem State University that's moving forward and this archive can come forward. So it's good that things are moving along. As you know, we concluded February Black History Month this past Monday, And so for the undesigned, the red line exhibit, we are officially closed for that. We were really happy that this was able to be extended at the library from the original 2 months just through September through November, and now we had an extra few months. It was really great, and we had a couple dozen community partners. We had dozens of events, and of course COVID put hiccups in it throughout and made us adjust public tours and in-person events and all that. But ultimately, I think we reached a lot of folks. The last I counted, I went through the guest book in mid-January, and we had over 500 community members sign that guest book. And even though that's only a fraction of people who go through there. And so just thinking about that, and I know we organized like 50 tours, both public and private, and some tours had a few people, some had dozens. And so I do think we've made a pretty big impact with that. And so I'm just really happy with that. And right now, I'm working with some colleagues in communication, and we're going to keep the website, the Undesign, the WS Foundation specs.org/undesign up, and we're going to turn it into a bit more of an archive and resource, kind of highlighting different events and videos that were up. So someone did a video event. We're going to try to see if we can put that on there, so it can kind of a hub for a lot of these events around there. We have a couple of virtual tours in there. We have some stories and blogs. So I think our idea is to kind of make that into kind of just a place people can kind of go and get access to this. And of course, part of this is the work that we hope to kind of continue to foster with all you all. So for the kind of this technology needs, we're so grateful that you will be able to help archive this and preserve it. But we would love to put, a link or, some type of way for people to go to that to be the access what's being preserved in all your work too. I have been in conversation with Linda Dark, and we're meeting on Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. to help take down all the people's post-it notes and stories and try to sort them. But if there's anyone else available at Friday at 10:30 from this group that could come and help take down and sort and document, I think that would be very helpful. We're also going to try to take some pictures. I don't know if anyone has any talents or skills or a better camera, that we're just going to take some pictures so that we're going to take this picture of this panel, so we know that these notes were on this panel, and just have a bit more sense of the space. So hopefully that can be continued to preserved and archived as well. So so I just want to kind of see if anyone is available for that. And then we'll kind of, I know there isn't an immediate need to scan. I know you're all working in technology, but the exhibit will be taken down this weekend. Will be taken down and disassembled and all that for now. And so we just want to make sure that we get all the pieces kind of in a good place for eventually to be archived. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or availability, let me know.
Charlie, unfortunately, I'll be in the meeting with the National Council of Public History, but I do want to again thank you. Thank you for your individual personal support, and then for the foundation's support and really partnering with AAHI. I think that bringing the redlining exhibit here was quite timely. And I believe Councilperson Scipio really had seen this and envisioned this as well, because she'd seen the exhibit. And I believe a few other people saw the exhibit in other cities. But from where sort of I sit, what I know is that it's helped to bring visibility to, concrete issues that we need for change that Ms. Joycelyn has spoken about, because we are committed to reparative justice. So we want our community, those people who are still suffering and don't have what they need to have their quality of life improved, right? But somehow, I think beautifully, that this negative development, this oppressive institution that was around for so long and really hurt, severely hurt African Americans and still does, that having the exhibit here, there's been a lot of buzz. So we've had lots of media attention, even just, I think over the weekend, Channel 12 did something, reminded people to come and see it. But obviously the opening brought people together. But even with the Weaver fire, if you notice many of the articles that came out, there was a focus on the sort of relationship between redlining and then some of the substandard areas where African Americans were forced to live. I brought this out on Thursday, the fact that African Americans in Winston often were forced into areas that were flood zones. And so I just really want to thank you because you provided us with a kind of anchor, and we're going to keep partnering moving forward. So thank you.
I want to show you something a librarian pointed out to me. May I share my screen? I don't know if I have permission to do that. I think I do. Okay. So we have this map of the redlining that many of you are, of course, familiar with. And you have this section right here. And I don't know exactly where the Weaver fire plant is, but it's around this area, right? Well, if you look at section B right here, it talks about the detrimental influence of this neighborhood is a fertilizer plant on the north end and a colored population in the southern eastern end. So this fertilizer plant was around 1937 and it was already recognized as a detrimental influence in that community. And so, yeah, it was right here. So this was kind of a declining area. So I think it's around this area. And so as it was built up, you can kind of think about what kind of development they planned in that area. So I don't know, I think maybe this might have been someone was sharing the community that was predominantly white until the 70s and white flight, but just even, it goes back even further than that. And it's amazing that we had this in the exhibit right there in section 2, even when this all happened. And I do want to also just thank Wanda also for the great presentation she did at the one city council meeting. Not one of the full meeting, it was the
committee.
Yeah, the one committee meeting. Yeah, and Councilwoman Scipio, thank you for your own. I know you were representing a great ambassador at the Delta Arts program a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I think it's been we've done a lot to hopefully raise this issue and reach a wide spectrum of members in our community too.
I just emailed Frank Elliott and asked if someone from our marketing could go and photograph the exhibit for us as part of AAHI, and he said sure, but of course they first make sure that the library is okay with it. They don't anticipate them objecting, and I told him it had to be before Friday. Is that right?
So I spoke with the library, and their space is open tomorrow, Thursday after 12:30, and Friday before 12:30. There might be some space on Saturday. I don't know, but I think it's coming down Saturday or first thing on Monday. I don't know exactly, but it's coming down then. So I just know either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, the space should be open for people to go in.
But and you're saying not tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. So it could be tomorrow after 12:30 p.m. or Friday before 12:30 p.m. I was speaking with Nan Rossi over there, and if he has a specific time, I can shoot Nan an email and let her know that someone's coming over to take pictures of it too.
Do
But
you
actually,
mind?
yeah, actually, now that I'm saying that, no, it has to be before 10:30, before Friday 10:30, because I'm gonna be there at 10:30 taking down the, yeah,
Yeah.
So 10:30, so yeah, Friday morning or tomorrow afternoon, yeah, duh.
Because you have a sense of what you really want them, I just told them to take the Post-it notes and the exhibit things. Can I give you, I can give you his email.
Yeah, let's do that.
So
I'll
that
send
you
an
can
email.
chat with him separately and
Yeah.
arrange that.
Great. Okay, I'm ready.
Frank, FRANKE at cityofws.org.
Okay. You know, his email is already in my, I must have already sent an email to him somewhere.
Yeah, he's on our committee here too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And then Wanda, I know that we had spoken about the one thing in April. I don't know if you had any more updates on that, or if we're not ready. Okay, we can turn it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still working on this April initiative that we discussed, Charlie, and so I will definitely be following up with you and hopefully have an update for you very soon.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Wanda, do you or Carlin have a copy of the map that Charlie just showed?
I have it, that map is a part of the PowerPoint that I did for the General Government Committee. However, I would love to have a copy of the form, Charlie. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I can do that.
And thanks, Ms. Joycelyn. Yeah.
And actually, one thing I want to kind of share with y'all is that we are most of the national exhibit is going to have to be returned back to the creators of it but all the local stories and all the local maps we will be able to keep. And so we've been even trying to think about, is there a way to curate like maybe 2 panels of our own that just we can put these local stories and then make available in the community to different partners who might be doing events or something, to kind of continue to at least keep some of that. While keeping things digitally is going to be great for access, I know sometimes it's helpful to have things in person too. And so if anyone has any thoughts of people who might be able to assist in this, please let me know.
I would tell you that I know the city has the capability of making posters.
Yeah, it almost like we have posters, but like we had, I don't know if it'd be like more like, yeah, poster board or something.
Poster
boards
boards
can be attached to, and I don't know. I thought they might have, but I don't know if it's feasible. And so,
it's feasible.
Okay.
And Charlie, it might be a good tie-in with Fair Housing Month, which is in April, and it's a national recognition. So that could be a good tie-in with that. But I agree that it would be something we would need to partner with our marketing department on doing. But we could maybe display that somehow for Fair Housing Month.
And since Frank knows that you're going to be contacting him, he just said 10-4. That's the kind of thing you can have a discussion with him while he's taking photos with you.
Okay. Great.
But we're open to it, Charlie. We're open as, department to working with you on that, and hopefully sharing that in very public spaces. And I can't speak for sharing things at City Hall per se until we figure out the internal logistics of that, but that would be an awesome way to share it.
Thank you, Charlie.
There needs to be an ongoing memory jogger, so that we don't repeat history as we move forward. Because people don't. I have a map here in my office that I'm looking at. I had our people impose the red line districts into our qualified census tracts that the federal money is supposed to be directed towards. And all of the red line is in the qualified census tracts, except for one little tiny piece. So it's sort of powerful to see where the redlining was and now how large the area has grown to encompass so many more people, and it's now real poverty area. So we need to have that constant memory jogger so that we don't assume that everybody is safe out of the woods and that housing was detrimental. It was a target for end result, and we see the result.
Right. And as we do the quote unquote urban planning, that's why we need to be mindful of what's going on in those arenas, because urban planning has lots of connotations.
Yeah.
Keep you as you were.
It keeps you, no, I won't say that. I will say that. If we always try to help poor people to stay poor, we need to be mindful of the actions that we take. Are we lifting them out of poverty? Or are we keeping them, making poverty more tolerant?
That's such an important distinction. And what you've said, Councilperson Scipio, that's so important. I mean, I think you have real concrete evidence of these connections, right? You have actual visual evidence of that. And that's so powerful and so obviously heartbreaking because we're still living with this. And this is something that Wanda has been stressing, that even though the fair housing law, was it 1968, Wanda? And yet look where we are now in 2022. And I think that's something that the exhibit, everyone was focusing on, this fact that we have to stop the harm and repair the harm. And the harm is really there. So I appreciate, what did you call it, Councilperson Scipio? Memory jogger? You're great at coining phrases, and that's exactly what it is. So thank you. Miss Annette has had her hand raised for a good while.
Well, I'm patient. First, I just wanted to also thank the city staff for all that you do on our behalf. It is remarkable, and the fact that we're having all these different conversations and the things that have happened are a testament for the work that you all do. And then I want to follow up on what Jocelyn said about the Juneteenth participation. Are we, I think it would be an excellent time for us to have our own booth where people can tell their stories. If we do have the partnership with IS or marketing or whoever to maybe set up a booth where people can record and we could promote, come tell your story. And if we had access to have the scanners come scan your pictures. So I know we usually kind of have these great ideas, but don't have time to implement them. So I wanted to make sure we could follow up on that, because I thought that was a wonderful suggestion. And I would be, if I get the date so I can put it on my calendar, I would, make that time available to help work the booth that day or be a part of that. And I think to encourage people to come, if we could do our own video to put on the city channel to encourage people to come and tell their story.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Joycelyn, for suggesting that. And like Mr. Thomas just put into the chat, that is exactly what he was doing for our Union Station, collecting all kinds of oral histories. I walked down with him a few times. He made many trips back and forth with that equipment. And then thank you, Miss Annette, for really articulating how we should go about doing that. So yeah, I think we officially need to publicize that and then we all need to use our connections with people, as Councilperson Scipio always reminds us, and you all know, those personal connections, as friendships, whatever church groups, organizations, your own family. This is what I'm telling my students who grew up here, you know, bring in your grandparents to talk to the class. And of course, they'll all be gone by Juneteenth, but I really hope that we'll be able to use Juneteenth as that time to, since COVID has really shut us down from this sort of thing. So hopefully we'll get a wonderful turnout. And last year, a number of us were at the booth all day, and we had lots of interest. So people were coming up and taking our flyers and speaking to us. So I think we know lots of people like to be stars. And so if we actually have the video equipment and everything, I think we'll have some people come and really be our stars. So thank you again, ladies. I believe that
Chairman Villa-Gomez.
Yes, ma'am.
I just like to thank you, Ms. Wilson, for bringing up Juneteenth, because I think it's really important that this is your March meeting. You got April and May, and then Juneteenth is on you in June. And I think because we really never, ever had our big coming out orientation for this committee, that we use Juneteenth coming from our national award to really push getting the community engaged in giving up their histories and bringing their stories. And to that end, I think that I would like to ask the staff let's work with marketing to get a big push starting in April and May, because it takes a bit of time to get people to see what you want them to do. And even if it's talking about, all of you can do a little video about your committee in April, May, early June, the stories you want to hear about. You want to, do you remember Rufus Harrison's drugstore? What are your stories about that? Or the Lincoln Theater, or Lafayette Theater? What was your neighborhood store? What was going on? You know, people don't always know what you want them to talk about. What was your school? Who were your teachers? So if we can put that push on with marketing through what they do at the city with the Next Door neighborhood, you know, the Next Door app, all of the social media, if we could put together a plan to really drive people to come to Juneteenth, to bring their pictures, talk about their sororities, their fraternities, the Sportsman's Club. And I don't know if any of you saw in the paper, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, maybe it was day before yesterday, about the tree club. That was a feature article about the tree that was on New Walkertown Road. And it was a lovely article that the Journal did about the tree. And people don't know what that was, our little country club restaurant. But these are the things that we need to be getting those stories and uploading them. So I think if we could, Ms. Wanda, I hate to ask the staff, but if we could work with marketing to come up with a campaign that we can sort of execute, perhaps starting in April and May, throughout April and May, up to Juneteenth, I think that would be wonderful, specifically since the city also is a big sponsor of Juneteenth. And, you know, we could even just make sure all city employees come and give their stories ahead of time, or bring in pictures ahead of time before Juneteenth. So they're going to be off. So just, I would like to suggest that.
That's no problem, Councilmember Scipio. And actually, I have 2 or 3 members of the staff who have already been sending me messages since you were talking about being interested in working with us and with marketing on coordinating this. And so Jamie Waldeck is the person who is our liaison between marketing and our department for most outreach things. And Iris McKnight and Shanta Brinson, who is our new NDO person for outreach, they have both expressed an interest in wanting to support this. And so Iris, is Shanta in your office? So you all can see Shanta. I don't remember if you've met her before, but she's one of the newest additions to our staff. So between Iris and Shanta and Jamie, I think that they will definitely be willing to work with marketing and try to coordinate what those efforts could look like, Councilmember Scipio.
Excellent. Thank you. This is exciting. I'm definitely going to be there all day and do whatever y'all at the city tell me I need to do to support this for the marketing end. So really exciting. Well, I believe we can take our vote to approve the February minutes, but before we do that, are there other comments or updates or questions from everyone? All right, thank you. Well, could I please ask for someone to make a motion to approve our February 2022 minutes?
I so moved to approve the minutes for the February meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Fulton. And someone to second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Carlin, could you call for the vote?
Chair Villa-Gomez,
Approve.
Mr. Dura,
Approve.
Mr. Fulton,
Approve.
Ms. Johnson,
Approve.
Ms. Williams, I thought I saw her, and Ms. Wilson.
Approved.
Thank you. The February minutes are approved. So before we part company today, I hate to part company. It's such a joy to be with all of you, but our time is close to the end. Any last thoughts or suggestions?
The Odd Fellows group on Saturday is going to do the 3rd installation in their history program. The initial one was regarding the Tuskegee Airmen. Last week they talked about Spurgeon Ellis and, I'm sorry, the first week was the Buffalo Soldiers. Last week was the Tuskegee Airmen, and this week is about a person of descent, native Winston-Salem, who was in the Spanish-American War. I don't have the link now, but once we get it, we'll send it out to, I'll send it to Carlin and, or just forward it to everyone. It's a 30-minute, 45-minute conversation with the presentation from the Odd Fellows group.
Thanks, Ms. Joycelyn. Yeah, I had the privilege of attending this past Saturday, and I plan to be there for the upcoming one. And it was just very, very interesting. I learned a lot, and we had pretty good turnout, didn't we, Ms. Joycelyn?
Yes.
And
Yes.
even the mayor and Mr. Larson were there. So it was a great turnout, and a lot of things that really overlap and intersect with what we are doing. So thank you for that reminder. Well, thank you all. Please take very good care, stay well and safe. And I believe we can close our meeting for today.
And Chair Villa-Gomez, just a quick reminder, your next AAHI meeting will be on April the 6th.
April 6th.
Yes, Wednesday, April 6th, same time, same place, but April 6th.
Thank you for that reminder.
You're more than welcome.
Move to adjourn.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I'm bad at this sometimes. Can we have a move to adjourn, please?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
And thank you. So we are adjourned for this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.